Duane, how you doing today?
Doing great, thanks.
Show show him the goatee. So he has trimmed it down, and he's given the excess to Goatees of Goodness, which is a charitable event for
Guys that
bikers
need
who
white
don't have good
beards.
facial care,
Yeah.
who don't have facial hair. Giving it to Santas who are going to the mall and don't have enough of the white stuff. So I want to appreciate your donation, Duane. Okay, chapter 2. Are you ready?
Ready.
Here's our question for Duane. Duane, you're going to spend 2 months anywhere, anytime in the world. You can go past, you can go present, you can go future. Now, when you go there, there is no guarantee you're going to survive to make it back. So that's part of your decision making process. So, where are you going to go? When are you going to go?
Like right now or next week or anyway.
Sure. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, you're, as soon as the show's over, you're jumping in.
I'm jumping in my time machine. Well, that was I've given that some thought, and I narrowed it down to 2. The first one would be during the movie Lonesome Dove, spending the time on the range, working the cattle. Very simple time as long as you stay out of the river that's full of the copperhead snakes. The other
That's
thing would be
exactly the scene I was thinking of. Oh, no.
Yeah. But the other one that I guess I probably kind of landed on was, and
Okay,
this is
now
not,
wait a second. You're saying you'd go in a cattle drive. You're saying you'd go in a cattle drive. That's what you do.
that's one of my options.
That's one of them.
But the second one was
Okay.
the one I kind of settled on, and that is in that time period of about 1976, 77, 78. And the reason for that was I was a senior in high school in the fall of 1976. So let's start back about 1975. Vietnam War was winding down. A lot of the guys were coming back. I lived in a neighborhood that was overwhelmingly blue collar. A lot of my dad's brothers, or all of my dad's brothers, I should say, he had 8 brothers, had served in the military in some certain branch. A lot of the people in my neighborhood worked for the South Dakota Air Guard because we lived very close to that on the north end of Sioux Falls. But the civil rights movement was cooled down. It wasn't the protests and everything we saw that. Vietnam War was coming to an end. Things were looking pretty good. I had already had my first job in construction. I remember at that time I was making $3 an hour, and I had more money than I could spend. I could go have all the fun I wanted to have and still put money in the bank every single week. The cars were better. The music was better. The fun was better, and the statute of limitations is gone on most of those stories, so we can tell them. I remember at my dad's memorial service, a really good friend of mine who didn't have a dad and kind of adopted my dad as his, he wanted to speak. And I said, I don't really think that's a good idea. But he got up and he spoke anyway. And he said, some of the things that we did, he goes, that your dad found out about. And there's an interesting story that involved the bishop's sister and a car. But we can save that for another time. That's a long-winded, but extremely funny story. But anyway, he would get on Mike something terrible because of some of the things we had done and some of the car races we'd had through town when Sioux Falls wasn't quite as big. He got up there.
So
and
you
he
want
was
to go
going,
back to those days?
Would I? Yes. In
Yeah.
a minute.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You want to go to the
That's what
glory
I would
days.
choose. Yes. Because as Mike said,
And you would go as you would go as you now?
No, I want to go
Decrepit old you
back as me
observing?
then.
Oh.
I want to go back and relive
well,
that. Is that the point of the
Yeah, that
exercise,
was
or am I
a-
supposed to go back as I am now?
Let me see here. Let me check this now. You will spend 2 months anytime. I didn't say what your age was. All right, you get a pass, but that
Okay.
it wasn't so you could go back and relive crimes, my friend.
No,
That
it
wasn't
wasn't.
the purpose of this exercise.
Okay, then I want to go back knowing what I know now, but I want to be younger. Back when I had hair.
Okay, all right.
But well, I guess let's turn that around then. I could go back now, but then I would be my father. And then I'd be trying to figure out what
Right.
these 2 clowns were doing all the time. So anyway,
And then you'd lose your hair. That's how you'd, yeah.
you know what? I think I might have been a contributor to that. I just think that the future, I don't really have, a lot of urge to have a flying car or a spaceship or, have a robot that does everything that you can do. And I guess mostly I'm just pretty happy where I'm at. But if it was going to be, if it was going to be a fantasy, it would be back in the cattle drive days. If it was going to be the best times, it would be in the mid 1970s.